Goblin will come into this group as, well, I would imagine is a bit of an underdog, right? I think that's pretty fair to say. As in the top right-hand side, our red Protoss player is going to be Goblin. And the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Terran is ByuN. ByuN still just grinding in every tournament known to man at the moment, and I actually was just watching his little message from the Shopify Rebellion to end the year, and he was saying, you know, he's mentally feeling a lot better, physically feeling a lot better. Was talking about how Shopify have helped him out a whole bunch this year. He's just moved house, and how now he's just going to be able to focus on the game, and he thinks that that means his results will just follow naturally from there, which is very exciting to hear if you're a ByuN fan, so get excited about that. Now, I know someone's about to shout at me about predictions, so if you give me just a minute or so here, guys, I will give you guys some predictions to predict with. Just give me a second to set it up. I can get this underway. Hey, hang on, officer in the flesh. Dude, I don't know if you've been here since we set up this tournament, but I just want you to know that this tournament is also because of you. I basically just said, screw it, you know, with the rest of the money that you donated, we'll just run an extra tournament, so... Welcome to the Hang On Officer Invitational. Obviously, I mean, we have some source from other places and stuff, but it definitely helped us. Someone else donated $250 at some point as well during the hype that you created as well, and I think that plus $1,000 extra from what you sent is what makes this up, and that allows me to keep some funds for other tournaments going into the new year otherwise, so shout out to Hang On Officer who helped this tournament be here today. Hope you're doing well, mates, as we do have our SCV. Is going to leave after Engineering Bay blocking a classic ByuN move. I mean, the Korean Terrans really just do love a good old bit of Engineering Bay blocking, don't they? Let me choose the outcome. Wow, so you guys all predicted a laser anyway. I wouldn't have said he was that much of a favorite against Dream. There we go. Alrighty, so... We're just going to patrol a little bit and get this underway. As we get this started up. I'm going to be going down to the bottom right hand side for Proxy Robo to get it started, so a little bit funky, a little bit different. Obviously going to be a little bit tricky here from Goblin. Now, ByuN did open one base-ish, like he expanded in his base, but nothing really too crazy. You know, he is still expanding, so it's not like he's playing one base exactly against this or anything. As our Reaper coming through. And just continue to try and pick up info. Marines joined by clean bots in the main. As you see a Dark Shrine on the way up. Wow, so we're really going to proxy a little bit of everything in the bottom corner. You know, when you invite Goblin to your tournament, this is a lot of the time somewhat what you would expect to see, so not can't say I'm all too surprised here initially. As the Reaper just continues along, and just going to be having our starport landing down, Medevac's on the way up. I'm just going to be seeing the Dark Shrine finishing in a few moments. A couple of additional probes on the way. So far, so good as our Engineering Bay continues through as well. So just getting that Engineering Bay rolling. DT's coming out. Let's see how ByuN handles the Dark Temple here in the next few moments as we get this underway. As I'm coming around the back here, as we're going to be seeing the first DTs in the natural. Turrets are not up yet. What's the scan situation? One scan still in the natural as you scan the first one in the main base, it goes down. But the one in the natural is dealing some good damage. And I like the position of this next warp in as well. That should be able to extend the amount of damage you get done here. I would love to see the Prism move forward with this DT, though. I feel like this DT absolutely could have been saved by the Prism. And then you just have one DT extra. And, yeah, just going to be seeing that DT picked off. And that will be that. Thanks, agents. I'm just going to be seeing how our Viking is on the way, and that's going to be a way to shut down the Prism, of course, so that should be a nice little addition. At the same time, Widowmine drops across the map will come into play as well, so just going to see those unloading and burrowing, and a couple of probes just starting to get hit here. And that's going to be a Zealot blown up as well. I mean, kind of nice to get the Zealot right, something a little bit more expensive, a little bit different, so can't hate too much on that. I might as well still hide just behind the corner here and just wait for their next opportunity as the Prism heads down to the south. Just going to start dropping those off, and the +1 attack upgrade coming through. Tank firing. Just going to be seeing the Viking and the Raven will come through the bottom side here and just chase Prism away just slightly. This is kind of the power, right, of having got that Viking up. The DTs in the end here should escape, and the Prism is going to go down. For a moment I thought it might be able to get away and just get out of reach, but as it makes a cut, which it kind of needs to do because of the corner of the map, then yeah, you don't really have much more of a choice there, as we are researching Shadow Stride on that bottom right base. I kind of love it, as this probe line probably could have been in some more trouble. I was going to see the couple Stalkers coming through and the Adept. All of that continuing to set up as we see our Shadow Stride, like I say, continuing into play. Seeing that come through momentarily here. As we get ourselves into this. +1 attack is just now completing again. Stemming combat shields will continue up. And once those bio upgrades are in play, this should mean a lot better of a situation from ByuN. The question is, where is Goblin really at? I do feel like these Widow Mines have done a great job, right? You know, how many Widow Mines have we lost? Not a single one. It's the exact same two as we've always had. And they've forced so many mineral lines to pull away, stop mining, to be, delayed. All of this kind of stuff. Really kind of a big deal, as we see the factory just going to move off the reactor. A couple of additional racks coming down. Zealots and DTs continuing to set on up as the barracks drops back down on the reactor there. And yeah, I mean, these have just kept ByuN kind of in the game when he's been pulling his own SCVs against DTs, etc. You know, the Widow Mines have made up for that a little bit, so it's definitely been something of a saving grace. That bio army just up behind the wall off there. As our bio army is going to be just moving into the center now. That is going to be a Viking getting rid of an observer here. So the observer goes down. Medevacs load up. A couple of bio units getting lifted, and away we will go over to that far right-hand side. Concussive shells just coming up as well. He's going to be seeing the upgrades continue for ByuN as he does finally get 4 probes. So actually a little bit of damage finally dealt at the very end as well. Just before this is done, I'm just going to see the medevacs still heading up to the top right and looking to end up in this base in the next few moments. Now, of course, there's DTs and plenty of them, and well, you're basically, oh, he loses the Prism. That's a shame, and we think we're probably going to lose the Forge before the DT blink comes in. Yeah, so you don't really lose much here as the Terran just yet. Obviously, the Stalkers have just now gotten their blink, so only just now will they start to really be able to kind of chase down medevacs, etc. And now maybe this drop can't go anywhere just yet, but you've also got a good amount of gateway units left in the main base just defending against that drop. So as far as ByuN's concerned, he's pretty content with that. That's perfectly fine for him. All these DTs just hanging out around to the bottom side here as you see the Bioforce will settle down and figure out what it wants to do. If it wants to go across the map, I don't hate it. You just have to be careful of A, the DT counterattacks, and B, making sure you always have enough bio, because it's one of these weird situations where you are playing, you know, I mean, quite literally, you are playing a bio army that can, you know, if it's not enough, you can absolutely end up in a situation where you lose just a little bit too much too quickly to the DT blink. And so, yeah, enough DTs, and you can absolutely have some issues there, as we are just going to be seeing an anti-armor missile on those DTs. They've blinked already, and now that you've got distance between your bio army and the DTs, this is problematic. Now, surely there's going to be a blink available again. He blinks back onto the army, so you can kind of see the back and forth. And to be fair, you can kind of see how it works as well. You do clean out a lot of bio, but that's also a lot of DTs, and that's very expensive from Goblin. Expensive enough that I think I'm comfortable in saying that this just wasn't really good. This wasn't really all that effective, as our Robobait sets up from Goblin as well. Nexus is about to finish. These couple of libs and the Raven will chase the Prism away through the south side. Ooh, there we go. Prism does now fall. With the final shot there, and just going to be seeing the Bioforce back into the middle of the map. And a couple of DTs just coming along to see what will happen. Robobait about to be done then. I like a couple of Immortals because I do think that they are going to strengthen up and just buffer up that army a little bit. I think that's actually pretty neat. There's a couple of ghosts come through. Bioforce is going to hit the assimilator as those Stalkers take some shots, and oh, this is going to be an assimilator again picked up right there. The Nexus taking some damage. The DTs continue to hunt down Marines, and well, this Ghost as well continue to drop also. As we come through, Nexus falls. Pylon's going to go down. These few Stalkers still trying to make their way forward. We go back and forth here, and just going to be seeing this army of ByuN moving in again. He just activates an anti-armor missile on the Immortal there. I almost feel as though that would have been better off just being a single Matrix, perhaps, but yeah, it's all the same right at this stage. He denies the fourth base, and ByuN continues to just control this game. After some expensive trade-offs from Goblin attempting to make use of those DTs, just haven't really worked out for him. We set up into this right now, and it does look very good for ByuN to take a 1-0 lead. I mean, Colossi coming through, and I guess you could argue right now there's not a lot of anti-Colossus armies, so definitely something of a factor. He's going to scan again. That DT gets picked off. A couple of Colossi still producing. I mean, honestly, it's one of those scenarios where the Colossi don't have, you know, that Colossus range just yet as well. And without that, they are going to be that little bit weaker as well. So also a fact here, as we start to push in, maybe we would have liked to see something off the Raven there to help out, as ByuN still maintains the overall supply lead, etc. But yeah, just maybe could have done something a little bit, yeah, just could have added something in amongst that, right, to make it a little bit more intriguing. Anyway, we do have the Bioforce back down to the south, and for the moment, just going to settle down once more. Get ready to go again as our 4 Vikings continuing production. Obviously, now he's just working on a proper answer to those Colossi, and once you've got the proper answer to the Colossi up and running, well, then you should be in a nice little spot. This was the only thing that was really holding ByuN back from just kind of ending the game, I suppose, having a Viking count or a proper answer to the Colossi, like I say. Why is the Dog Shrine not being killed yet? It's actually going to finish. The only part of the map ByuN hasn't seen. You would think he would go and check for it, because he's been in the main base now enough times, right? It's a good point. Like, he's been in the main base enough times to kind of be like, well, the Dark Shrine isn't here, so where is it? It can only be in, like, one place at this point, basically, so might have been worth getting rid of. I think ByuN at this stage is... It's probably... It doesn't matter in this game, right? But in another game, to shut down the DT harass and force that to rebuild for a later game situation would have absolutely been valuable and something you should have done. In this case, obviously, he's going to get away with not doing it, which is fine. As these Stalkers continue to fall, Colossi continue to get picked away at, and we are just going to be seeing ByuN not quite winning the game with this one push, but he's denied the 4th yet again. He's reduced the Colossus count down to just 1 now. And, sorry, there's 2. There's one hiding behind the other one. I didn't see that second guy there. as the little bit of an army will continue to chase. Yeah, like you say, like he hasn't spotted it yet, but maybe he should have known that it was kind of out on the map. But maybe as well just caught up in everything going on in the game, micro and those widow mines, etc. Right? You know, it adds up, it taxes what you're thinking about, and maybe just one of those things he didn't quite think of. And in this case, like I say, it doesn't really affect him too much. Still on the starter matches of the day, of course. After this, well, Dream waits for the loser of this series in the elimination match. A Laser waits for the winner of this series in the winner's match, and then the decider match at the end as well. Plenty of games still on the way, ready to go. And just enjoying the day so far. Top left, Goblin. Bottom right, ByuN. Map number 2. Let's see what will go down. What's gonna happen? Do 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 do. Next coming into play. A couple of assimilators will continue up as well then, as we just get the refineries coming through from ByuN. So he is going to go double gas, even though he's not proxying the barracks, and he's not engineering bay blocking. So double gas from the get-go. Just going to be a quick factory. Intrigued to see what will be happening here in a second. Reaper on the way up. Just gonna see the cyber core still coming through, and just getting a factory on the way as well right now from ByuN. So again, just waiting to see what he does off the back of a, like I say, a non-standard open. I mean, double gas isn't super crazy, but it does hint towards a little bit more of an aggressive setup or so. Definitely attack, expecting something along those lines. Comes back up around this right-hand side, is just going to be seeing the Stargate coming into play. Factory coming online. Yeah, so when you go for one base against a Stargate, then I really feel like I like this. We'll see what Goblin can get out of this Stargate, see if he can find much value early game. You know, just kind of following Mr. Reaper up around the map, and he's just been kind of checking for any immediate proxies, which is nothing too weird to be doing, right? Pretty much the expectation there. Reapers do come across with this Hellion, and we'll see if they can run by for any initial damage here. Maybe try and get something done. We got a couple of probes and now going for another one as well. Not bad for the first couple of units. I mean, 3 probes. Stalker went down too is obviously kind of a crazy part of that, as we now have the Phoenix just looking for a little bit of info. I mean, you know what the setup is as well. You're going into Viking Cyclones. You're very safe here just across the board. Should keep you in a pretty just A-okay position, right? Nothing really to worry about or be concerned about, I would say, at this point in time. If you're the Terran player, you've got just good coverage on the game, and should be able to just run with that as the couple Phoenix come back around the right. Extra racks just coming through here from ByuN. The Viking and the Cyclone getting chased away. Rax comes along to attack Lab as obviously we get ourselves ready for the mid game, and so will Goblin. Goblin loves a bit of Phoenix Colossus, so it's no surprise to see that Robobase coming down as one of his initial setups here as well. A lot of the expectation, I suppose, as we just see the Phoenix back out down to the south side. +1 air weapons is coming through. And the combat shield's now starting up, as well as the couple of units will go and push back the Phoenix and again just stop them from reaching the mineral line. You look at the SCV kill count, it's 0. When you've got a Phoenix down like this, I would expect to see a few dead SCVs by now, and I'm sure a few will start to happen now if they try and move into the natural maybe, but it's been a good continued defense so far from ByuN. He's not been letting this fall apart. He's been pretty consistent with it. Now he'll lose a couple of Marines and an SCV that gets lifted, but that is going to come at the cost of a Phoenix, which is obviously not exactly efficient from Goblin, and something that you should have been looking to avoid. So losing a Phoenix definitely doesn't make this worthwhile at all. Just going to be seeing the +1 air weapons coming through and seeing the Colossus and the Phoenix continuing into play. Observer is going to get picked off, and just seeing how Phoenix come back around. I'm just going to start moving in toward the main base here as we see the Stimpack, Combat Shield, +1 attack, all of that continuing to set up at the moment. Just have our Phoenix getting chased by this little bit of a bio army, and I mean, it's keeping good map control. You know where the attack's coming from. You should be able to say, right, well, what do I need to add on or do differently to deal with an attack, knowing where this army is. And of course, you can threaten to counterattack with the Phoenix as well, which sometimes makes this army turn around. In this case, ByuN will hold back a few more moments anyway. He's getting +1 soon. I wonder if that's what's going to allow him to say, right, now we pull the trigger. Or if there's something else in particular here which will be kind of that determining factor as the Phoenix come in and SCV gets picked off. And through the middle of the map we go with a bio army, a Viking, and a Cyclone. Already grabs an Observer, which is nice again, just removing any map control that you can. The Phoenix are in the top right here. Plus counter at 1. No thermal lance either. Second one halfway done. I do think that's the biggest concern, right? Is if the Colossus just can't hold on for long enough. If you don't have enough firepower, is a little gap in that force field. If you try to run through this, it doesn't quite go well enough for ByuN, and he is going to be held at this ramp. Goblin will stop him from moving further forward. Vikings, Marines, and Marauders all still coming in from ByuN. Third CC building. I mean, it's like he does have a backup plan. And Goblin has his next stage of this game setting up as well. Fleet Beacon and an extra Stargate, although right now ByuN finds his way onto the third. It's honestly, it's so tempting just to dive those two Colossi, right? It's like, you feel like you can just jump on top of them. This is probably why I lose a lot of games at TvP. As I look at those Colossi, I'm like, let's go! And then they just never die because the Phoenix lift my units, and it's just a horrible misjudgment on my part. You know, I really lack patience when it comes to this matchup, and yeah, that would be one of those moments where I'm like, surely that's not enough to survive, and the process is like, yeah, it absolutely is. And I'm like, ah! Keyboard smash. I'm just going to be seeing the Phoenix coming through again. This might be a little bit tough with a bit of tank support and, you know, ByuN being able to fall back to that a little bit. Carriers on the way from Goblin. Wow, I thought he might have just gone Phoenix range and more Phoenix initially, but he's going to try and go straight into carriers. Very, very interested as we see this Bioforce pulling back down through to the bottom side. He is going to go Phoenix range, so we'll upgrade the Phoenix. I mean, obviously, ByuN, the moment carriers start coming onto the map, this game gets a little bit more difficult for him, so it's definitely a factor and something to consider. Bio back out down to the south side, and just looking to go join up with reinforcements. Third CC, he's now just finishing morphing into an orbital as well, so ByuN will have his own continued economy in play here. He does have that continuing to settle down. There's a couple of tanks that go into siege, and enhanced shockwaves is on the way up as well, so bringing that into play too. There's a couple of additional Vikings also coming up. Turrets are still coming in. I mean, all the tech from ByuN that you need. The question just will be, how does it go when it comes to trying to deal with this incoming Fleet Beacon tech with this carrier force that's now going up from 2 to 4, and those kind of numbers all becoming a factor here. Hey, Lucky Gujo, thank you so much for the 17-month resub. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and welcome back. Thanks for supporting. It's in our second best of 3 of the day. Dream sits in the elimination match waiting for the unfortunate loser of this series, and Alaza will sit waiting in the winner's match for a chance to move into the playoffs against the winner of this series when we are done here. So just in case you're wondering what is coming up, that is what it looks like here today. Fire Force heading out to the upper left-hand side, so making a move up there. Tanks will come following up as well with the Ghost. Plenty of Vikings. I mean, we're not quite maxed out, but we're almost there from our Terran players. So eyes on that max out, seeing if that will be impactful at all, as we have got ByuN Army just moving straight up. The MP is going down. Obviously, that's going to take the shields off everything. The Vikings are surviving quite nicely for the moment as well, so no problem there for the moment either. I'm just going to be seeing now. Few units just going to stem ahead to the Natural. Takes down a battery. Natural's pretty undefended, obviously. The army just sits on the third base, and yeah, I mean, it depends where ByuN wants to put himself, because in a way you're still afraid to go too far forward and put yourself in a really kind of unfortunate and weird situation that you can't really micro out of or make right at all. So that's kind of a factor here as well, as the Fire Forces move up. A couple of probes will go down. There you go, a few MPs going off in the Phoenix as well. The Vikings having to pull back along with the rest of this as we're going to start and continue to fight. Marauders are going to dive for the Colossi. They say, well, we can't fight anything else. If we just get rid of those, the splash damage disappears, and then these Marines can be a lot more effective. No energy on the Phoenix. They can't lift anything up. And now the Interceptors will start to get taken down because of these Marines, which are actually just going to work their way through this base. And yeah, I mean, getting rid of the Colossi is huge, because then the Marines can just run riot across everything else. And yeah, that's why it was actually, I mean, the Marauders may not have wanted to run forward like that, but once the Colossi are gone, what else are they going to do? I mean, yeah, kill buildings and stuff, sure, but yeah, not exactly the craziest of situations as this Fire Force continues on the Nexus. Robo taking some shots. I'm just going to be seeing the tanks turning fire. Robo facility continuing through as well. So Nexus will drop here as ByuN continues through, and just going to be seeing the army continuing to settle down. Do we have enough for ByuN in this fight is my question. Did he have enough reinforcements here? Are these Interceptors just a few too many? I think they might be. There's a lot of carriers all at once, and they got a chance to rebuild Interceptors, and well, you did obviously major eco damage. 2 bases have fallen. It's basically this group of carriers versus the world at the moment, so let's see if these carriers can indeed make a difference. Let's see if they can get enough done here. Or not. Pushing now down to the bottom right corner. I mean, it basically is just do or die, so you just got to go ASAP. I like the Thor. I think the Thor is good here, but only 4 Vikings. I'm afraid that the Marines just won't get the job done. These are +2 air weapon carriers. Like, these guys are freaking scary. These guys pack more than just a punch. They are absolutely terrifying, and I mean, more Vikings, etc. would be wonderful. Just more of the tech units to really deal with this. Let's see what we get here as we settle down and move in. Just going to be having ourselves the Marines trying to fight this. These carriers are just not going to die, guys. Goblin is going to make this happen with the carrier count just so high that ByuN can't stop it. GG, and Goblin is going to take a map number 2. And we're going to tie up here 1-1 in this best of 3. Bottom left corner is going to be the red Protoss player. It is a Goblin. Tied up 1-1 in this best of 3. And oh my goodness, he might have a bit of a shocker here. As in the top right is going to be our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. ByuN. We're fighting in the chat. You guys can't just be nice. Can't just be friends. It's New Year's Eve. You really want to start a new year by balance whining and complaining and fighting? Guys, how about we all make a joint Twitch chat resolution that for at least the first 5 minutes, okay, not even the first, okay, how about for the first day of the year, we do not balance whine? Do you guys think we could last a day with no balance whining? Twitch chat resolution? I don't think we can. I think it's too much. Too much to ask for. Happy New Year from Australia 11 minutes ago. Happy New Year. We have people already in the new year, and you guys are already balance whining in their face. You see? Oh, yeah. You can't last more than 5 minutes? Well, at least there's multiple things you can't last more than 5 minutes at. At least it's not just balance whining. Wait, what? Factory, we're coming through is we actually do have the barracks is across the map, and that's a real good old proxy. Is the one base Goblin has only just started the Adept. He's going to build the Stargate at home in the end. As we start to look for some probe kills here, should be able to get that one that hops out of the assimilator. Continuing through and just going to be seeing a couple probes. Continuing to take a couple of shots at the moment, and just having the racks coming through for a little bit extra here in a few moments. Extra Reaper popping out, continuing to make this exciting. The pro picked up. Oh, the beauty. Oh, I love it. What a shot. Oh my goodness. Into the sky. Away it goes. Beautiful camera work by Indy, whose camera we are stealing yet again today because I am a lazy little who doesn't observe anymore. You just got to accept. My New Year's resolution should be to actually observe myself a little bit again because I really have gotten very lazy at it. That's going to be seeing our Cyclone production continue through. And Macfield as well. Obviously, he sees a Stargate off one base, right? So you're a little worried that this will be some kind of aggression. And I mean, in a way, the Cyclone and Macfield can just do very well on its own accord anyway. So let's see what ByuN finds with that. The pylon to the top left side. I wonder if the pylon was going to be a proxied Stargate until he realized that the barracks was so close to his base, and then he was like, oh, I'll build the Stargate at home instead. And with the Stargate at home, obviously I'm in a bit of a better spot because then I have the Oracle popping out here to defend in case this becomes more and more of an issue, and I really do need to do something about it. Keepers will just take down this pylon, obviously, so it was finally found. Did better at finding this pylon than he did finding the Dark Shrine proxy in that first game, huh? So, yeah, takes down that pylon, the Adept coming through, and just going to be seeing it continue to try and chase down the couple of Reapers wherever possible. So, these two Reapers still being annoying, though, right? They're really very active on the map. They keep a good presence on the map as well in general, so causing a few frustrations at the very least for Goblin, who is just constantly being checked in on by that. Now, we see a Twilight Council on the back of Phoenix production. Charge is a go-to here, but I wonder if Goblin has something a little bit more fun planned, like Glaives. We saw Hero and a couple other players recently use a bit of, like, Phoenix Glaives action, and, you know, had some reasonable success with it, to be fair, so kind of wondering if that's maybe a possibility here, if that's something that will come through as the Phoenix just come along, and trying to see what they can get up to as Twilight Council comes into play. Phoenix Trying to get into the base, but will be unsuccessful. That's going to be seen then coming around, moving in towards the main a little bit here, trying to see a little bit of what's going on. Cyclone's just going to drop enough and just doing a little bit of damage themselves for a few moments. Cyclone's just coming back around, just going to get a lock onto the Phoenix, and it's not quite going to result in a kill. The problem is there's so many Phoenix, you've got to be very cautious of the, you know, of what can happen here, right? Because the Phoenix can easily turn around, lift 3 Cyclones, and still kill them in pretty apt timing, right? Because there's just that amount of Phoenix here already, so definitely a factor as we just have them hanging around overhead, and the Cyclones will lock on once more. Phoenix taking a little bit of damage, but nothing major. And I think, again, it's this sort of situation. It's like, it's definitely scary to kind of play out over to this sort of position and to try and make something of that. A little bit of a lock on. Phoenix taking some shots. RoboBay coming through. All these extra gates coming up as well as that +1 armor. It's about to complete. Thanks results will join up as well, and again just settling down, ready for an attack, because ByuN is more or less ready to launch an attack onto this base here shortly, right? I mean, he is set up, he's on the watchtower. Does he believe? I mean, I kind of believe. It's 10 Zealots, Phoenix. I think he can do well here. Colossus is coming up as well. And ByuN just coming through on the watchtower. As a couple of barracks will continue along, and Marine Marauder will continue up as well. I'm just waiting a little longer. I mean, I don't know what ByuN necessarily has to wait for if he gains anything by waiting. Maybe just the amount of units he's more comfortable with pushing in with. I mean, Phoenix out of position for the start of this fight. Why is there no battery on this third base? There is one Colossus, but the Widowmine army is going to be difficult to deal with, as they're going to just soften up a lot of these Zealots, and then the Phoenix don't really stand up very well against the Marines. And it's not like, again, there's enough Colossi to really scare the Marines off either. Now the Immortal goes down, and pretty much everything else here will continue to drop off. We're still trying to get that Colossus with the Marauders, and he will get it. Again, if there was a battery or something here, this would have been a lot better, but without a battery, doesn't really make much difference. GG's, and ByuN is going to get the win in the end. Goblin made it close. He took us to game 3. Wasn't quite enough, as Goblin Dream is coming